I hope your weekend is off to a spectacular start. Today we're going to be tackling the LEGO 101 Dalmatians Puppy build, but first, we have an urgent message from some spotted friends who need our help. Let's check it out today on Brickscale Studio. Welcome back to Brickscale Studio. My name is Jeff. Thank you so much for joining me. Do you hear that? Can you hear that? That's the Twilight Bark. We have a message from some spotted friends who need our help. Don't worry, CJ and Miss Chief. I got the Twilight Bark message. We're on the case. So let's get into this build and help out our spotted friends, and then we'll have a chat after. Okay, here we have the Disney 101 Dalmatians set. This is set 43269, 1,722 pieces. And a little box damage here, but hopefully everything will be okay inside. So as you can see, we've got a little some customization options here. We can do a standing or a sitting pose or a bow pose. And then we have some customization with the collar and the ear colors. So we'll get into that when we get into the build. So let's unbox and see what we've got. All right. So once again, no paper bags, just plastic bags. However, our manual is in a paper bag. So let me get this all organized and we'll be right back. All right, so there were 12 numbered bags and we have 4 manuals and they are numbered. You see number 1 here, but then you also, right on the cover, bags 1 through 4. This is number 2, bags 5 through 6. Number 3, bags 7 through 8. And then number 4, bags 9 through 12. And then we do have a sticker sheet for the tags on the collar. We have Lucky, Roly, Freckles, Patch, Penny, and Pepper. We have a blank one with just a star on it if you don't want to use any of those names. And then we have the sticker for the tongue. So I'm going to set the sticker sheet aside. And let's look at the first manual here. So once again, you can scan your QR code to get your 20 points. To register your set, you can also get PDF instructions. And then here we have a picture of the full-size Dalmatian, and then we have the 2 mini Dalmatians that are a separate set that also released on June 1st. So those are available. And then here we go, talking about the customization. So we can have Patch, Penny, Lucky, Freckles, Roly, Pepper. So very cool. So with that being said, the customization options, we're going to end up with extra pieces left over at the end of the build because obviously you're only going to use a portion of them depending on which puppy you go with. So that is very cool. I love the customization. And then we just get right into the build. So let's get started with bag number 1. right, that's the end of bag number 1. And we have the start of the body, I'm guessing. Also pay attention to these gray pieces here. As you probably saw in the time lapse, I had to take it apart a little bit. There's 2 gray pieces that have pins on both sides and 2 gray pieces that only have pins on one side. So make sure that you have the 4 pins on this end and the 2 pins on this end. All right, on to bag number 2. Okay, that is bag number 2, and we have continued work on the body here. So we got some spots showing up, very nice. We've got this nice snot technique here, the stud's not on top. We've hidden all those little studs with tiles there. All right, so let's move on to bag number 3. Okay, that is the end of bag number 3. And some very interesting techniques, I have to say. The way that they build this little curve piece for the joints here with this kind of rod piece that reinforces those little jumpers. Pretty genius, and that's a pretty stable connection with that red rod in there. Just adds to the stability of that joint. And then, of course, we have a lot of great snot technique. Studs not on top around here and the bottom side. So on to bag number 4. Okay, so this is the end of bag 4 almost. So we've got the body here, and we are at a decision point, whether you want a red collar or a blue collar, and which puppy you are going for. I think, let me go back here to the beginning. Oh my gosh. These guys are so cute. Okay. So I think I am going with Patch. So I'm going with Patch. Now, in the beginning of the video, we saw CJ and Mischief. CJ has a patch on his other eye. So unfortunately, we can't go the way that the angle pieces are oriented. It's on this side. So we're going to go with Patch, and we're just going to pretend that it is. We're kind of doing CJ here a little bit. So let's do that. So we need the red collar, and we're going to need the Patch sticker for the tag. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4 of these pieces. And those are going to go right around the neck here. Just like so. And of course we got the tail on here. Alright, and one more. Alright, perfect. And then let's do, we need this piece and this piece. There we go, and let's grab the patch. So that's going to hang down this way. All right, there is patch. Cute. Now you do get enough little medallions that you could apply the stickers. There's a lot of them. So you can apply the rest of the stickers here and swap out. So you don't have to, you don't have to make like an ultimate final decision. You can apply these stickers to all of these, and then you can swap out and change up the collar and the facial features as you wish. But for right now, we're going to go with patch, and we're going to move on to bag number 5. All right, that is the end of bag number 5. So we have one of the legs done here. So we're building the bow pose. Obviously the head's going to go here, and then we're going to have our other leg that we're going to build in bag 6, and then our front paws here. So let's get into bag number 6. Okay, that is the end of bag number 6. And we have both of the hind legs completed. So it looks like we're moving on to bag number 7, and we're going to be doing the front legs here. So let's move on to bag number 7. Okay, that's the end of bag number 7. So we have this first paw here. And bag number 8, we're going to do the other side. So let's get into bag number 8. Okay, that is the end of bag number 8. We have the body and all 4 paws, plus the tail. I'm done. So now we're going to work on the head. So on to bag number 9. Okay, that is the end of bag number 9, and it looks like we have the start of the back of the head here. So let's move on to bag number 10. All right, that is the end of bag number 10. And yeah, I'm not going to lie, that looks a little creepy. So on to bag number 11. All right, we are still in bag 11, but now we have, so we have the nose, and we have a decision to make, how we're going to do the eyes. Earlier I said I'm going to do it like Patch. So we have the 2 choices here. So if we go with Patch, we just simply turn the page to page 58. If we're going with this one, we are skipping to page 66. So I'm going with Patch, so let's just move on to page 58. All right, so there we go with the eyes. So the main reason why, which I don't understand, they could have just included a couple extra pieces that would have allowed you to do the patch on either side, but I get they're going for the character from the movie, not my sister's dog CJ. But this piece, this piece, the way that they're angled, that kind of is what is preventing you from swapping the eye color. And then there's a couple pieces over here as well. But I feel like they could have, like this is another angled piece. I mean, they basically just needed to give us this piece and this piece in white and this piece and this piece in black. And we could have swapped. But again, I get they're going for the movie Patch, not CJ. So we're going with the right eye instead of the left, but it's all good. All right, so we're at another, we've done the eyes, and now it's telling us to advance. We ended up on page 65, so now they're telling us to advance to page 73. All right, and then we have another decision to make, whether we want the right ear black and the left ear white, or vice versa. We want the left ear black and the right ear white. So we're going to go with the right ear black. So the eye patch and the ear are black. And then this side, the eye and the ear is white. So in order to do that, we need to go to page 89. All right, so here we are at page 89. And so these are the parts that are left over for bag 12. Or I'm sorry, bag 11. So if we would have went with 2 white eyes, we would have ended up using these other pieces and we would have black pieces left over. So this is the end of bag 11 and we're moving into bag 12. Hey, so there is the finished patch. So this is in the bowing position, which is probably not the one that I will display it in. I'll probably display it in the sitting position. And there we have it. That's the sitting position. So of course, I'll turn the camera around, we'll take another look, we'll retransform it back into the bow position, and we'll also compare it to the Simba figure. Here is the completed 101 Dalmatian build. What can I say about this set? This is truly a charming and adorable set. Very similar to the Simba build that we did last year. We'll compare the two a little bit later, but very similar, at least especially in this pose. Simba was in the sitting position. But, I mean, all in all, this build is just adorable. If you are a fan of the movie or just buildable figures or dogs, this is just fabulous. The other cool thing about it is that it is customizable in looks. So I've chosen to go with patch. So I have the patch name tag on there, and I've gone with the black patch over the right eye and the black ear. But you can change the ear colors. They can be all white, one black, the black on the other side. You can have the patch or not have the patch. You can add additional dots for the spots. There's additional pieces that are left over. You can add additional spots. You can reconfigure the spots. You can add different names to the name tag here. Plus you can swap out this red collar for a blue collar. So very cool there. I mean, the Simba is just Simba. So obviously, there's not much customization available there. You can also have it with the tongue in or out. This just pulls out. It's on a little clip, so you don't have to have the tongue if you don't want to. Kind of like the Tuxedo Cat. We could have the mouth open, the mouth closed. We could have blue eyes. We could have gold eyes. So love this customization options that LEGO is providing us. Now, the head does move, so you can move the head. The legs are stationary like the Simba figure. However, unlike the Simba figure, we can change the position of the Dalmatian from a sitting to what they call a bow position. And that is really simple. Like I said, this is very customizable. So in order to change the position, when you actually build this, when you go through the manual and build it, you build it in the bow position, and then it shows you how to transform it in the sitting position. So let's transform this. I'll show you how easy it is. And there's a little ingenious feature because you will need some extra parts. So the first thing we do is we just remove the head, and you just pull it off these little rods, and you take out this plate here. And so the way this works is this has like a 90-degree, these little axle pieces in here. So for the sitting position, you align the rods with the red, and for the bow, it's going to be more of a this way. So we're going to set this aside. And then again, we had to remove this little back piece, but watch what will happen to it. And then we remove the legs. All right, and then inside, there's this little compartment. We have some extra pieces. And then here we can store the headpiece that we don't need for the bow position. And then this just fits right back on there. Okay, so we're gonna put that there. Then what we'll need to do, take off this. We add these pieces here. Like so. And then now the back legs become the front, and the front become the back. Like so. And then now we position, and of course the tail is movable as well. Whoops. And now we have him in this bow position. So very cool. I love the way that it is super easy to transform it into the different positions, and then also how they give you this built-in compartment to hold the extra pieces. So very cool there. I really enjoy that. So I don't know. I'd kind of convinced myself that I was going to put it in leave it in the sitting position for display, but now I'm not sure. I might leave it here just as a contrast to Simba. So speaking of Simba, let's get him over here. All right, so here is Simba. Now, as you can see, if you look at these... Oh, I just removed his leg accidentally. All right, well, I'm just destroying Simba as we speak. But actually, this is good because we can do this comparison. I mean, you can see that these legs are basically identical. It's a very similar build technique, even down to the toes. Very similar. Same thing with the back. These are very similar builds. The only sort of difference is we have these segmented here so that we can convert it from sitting to bowing, whereas this one is permanently in the sitting position, or the sitting position. So Simba, like, he does have the head movement, so he can move the head. So they both have the head movement, but again, Simba can only be displayed in this sitting position, whereas we saw with the Dalmatian, you can switch him from sitting to bow position. So very, very cool. But like I said, other than that, it's the same build style. I mean, even down to the body type, slightly different, but same sort of overall shape. And Simba has his tail as well. So both very cool builds. And very hard to believe that these are Lego, especially when you have them sort of on display and you're, maybe sitting across the room. These look like little figurines, little statues or whatever. It's hard to tell that they're Lego from afar, which is very cool. So that is the 101 Dalmatians Puppy. That was the 101 Dalmatians Puppy build from Lego. CJ, Mischief, I hope that it is up to muster. What did you think of the puppy? I thought it was incredible. As I mentioned in the build video, I thought the customization and the ability to have it in that stand or bow pose is really awesome. You can definitely make this your own. It was a great build. I love the techniques. Very similar to the Simba build that we did last year, as I mentioned in the review portion. So let me know what you think down in the comments. it looks like LEGO is going to continue down this road with these buildable figures. What do you want to see next? Let me know down in the comments. If you want to keep up with Mischief and CJ to see what sort of shenanigans they're getting up to lately, I will put a link down to their Facebook page. Of course, yes, they have a Facebook page. So you can check them out over there and be sure to like that page and follow them. CJ and Mischief, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. And remember to like, share, subscribe. And next week, we are taking a look at the new Sherlock Holmes Book Nook. And then after that, shocker, I received parts for the Batmobile, so we will be back on the Batmobile starting on the 28th as promised. And until we see each other again, happy building, take care, be kind to each other, and have a spectacular day. I'll see you soon.